Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Photo of Eagles Now. We're going to get into a little, we'll call it a preseason preview. Get into really the 5 big players I'm looking at in terms of the Friday preseason game against the New York Jets. First, though, must be a subscriber to be a part of our mailbag video coming up later on this weekend. If you guys want to get a question asked and hopefully answered on the show by myself, hashtag Eagles down below in the comments section. Be a subscriber and give me your question. And if it's a good one, it's a very good chance of being pulled for the weekend. Before we jump into my preseason preview, week 1 against the Jets, which is just a couple of days away, this week on Friday, and my top 5 players to watch for, I want to jump in with some breaking news and give you guys my reaction to the Roquan Smith trade request via Chicago. This comes literally just a couple of hours ago. All the major guys have this breaking news, saying that Roquan Smith has officially asked for a trade from the Chicago Bears, citing that they're not using him properly to his full potential, basically saying, they're not a good franchise, get me out of there, I want to maximize my potential somewhere else. Now, in terms of tying this to Philadelphia, there isn't any sort of tying to actually do. Now, there's no offense that Roquan Smith, this guy's a great player, one of the best young linebackers in the league, has been since being drafted out of Georgia, and it's the Bears' fault for misusing him. We see this all the time with bottom feeder teams like Chicago, at least Chicago has been the past couple of years, where the front office isn't working very well, they don't like the GM, the head coaching situation is a mess, and therefore players who are really, really good don't want to stick around through the let's say the twilight or the good years of their career and play for a bad franchise. So I understand Roquan Smith doing this. Problem is that Philadelphia is not going to call. There's a 0% chance Philadelphia even calls. They went ahead and addressed their linebacker situation not only in this draft with Nakobe Dean, but they have elevated TJ Edwards to a starting role, and they feel very, very good about where Edwards is. Not to say that Roquan Smith couldn't be the best linebacker on this football team. He probably would be, but they have a lot of young investment into the linebacker core that includes Davion Taylor, Nakobe Dean, Sean Bradley. They brought in Kyzir White, obviously TJ Edwards. That's a very young core and a very good young core, and I just don't see it being worth what will be a first or second round draft pick for the likes of Roquan because of how talented he is on a franchise that is already very much stacked right now on the defensive side of the football. Would he make them better? Yes, no doubt. But will they actually go ahead and try to make a trade, pay him the money, and give up a first or second round draft pick? I do not see it happening. Let me ask you guys this. You guys want the Eagles to trade for Roquan Smith? If you do, type T down below for trade. If you do not, go ahead and type P down below for pass. All right, enough with the trade stuff. Let's get into a quick preview here, Eagles versus Jets. I know it's the preseason, so we're not really going to get into the analytics side of things. I want to get into the players that I'm going to really be interested in watching for this preseason game, but just so that, the over-under is 36. Jets are 1-point favorites. Not that that matters at all unless you want to gamble on a preseason game, which I guess you're more than welcome to. But the matchup is obviously a very common one in the preseason. The Eagles will get to go ahead and play at the Linc in one of their 2 home games during preseason, and I think you're going to see, as we'll show you, it'll be a starter-on-starter matchup, at least early on in this football game. Now, if you guys think the Eagles are going to get a win, type W down below in the comments section. Not that it matters at all. You can get blown out 31-7 and still have a successful preseason game. You just have the way preseason works. But if you guys think they're going to win, give me a W down below right now. Okay, let's just check in on Nick Sirianni yesterday when asked about if the starters will play. He didn't say yes, but he basically did say yes. Look at this. Quote, still sorting through all that. We don't have to make that decision until Friday. We'll probably make it a little bit sooner than that, but still sorting through that. Last year, we played them. I want to say 2 series each. We feel like that was a good formula. I'm not committing to that yet, but we're still thinking it through at this time, end quote. Very clearly, they're going to go with what they did last year, and that is give the starters, if they're healthy, 1 or 2 series, which is fine. I would give the starters a few series. I have no issue with my starters playing in the preseason. Now, every year, there's always a starter who is injured in preseason, so you knock on wood, you cross your fingers, you say a prayer, whatever you want to do, and hope that it's not Philadelphia. But if an injury were to happen, you can't blame the fact they're playing in the preseason. It's not necessarily a fact that if you don't play in the preseason, you're going to be rusty for week 1, but this team needs to gel. A lot of these young players need to play. Jalen Hurts, I think, needs to go ahead and get some of the rust off and play in an actual preseason game. So, depending on health, and there's a long list of players who have minor injuries right now. Jason Kelce has an elbow injury, which is not serious, but he won't play on Saturday or on Friday. That's at least my guess. I think that if you're healthy, you should go ahead and get a couple of series, and then, of course, hand it off to the backup guys who are trying to go ahead and make a roster. We'll go with the ad break pin comment down below as we roll through here. Should the starters play versus the Jets? What do you think? Should they play versus the Jets? If they should, type Y down below for yes. If they should not, type N down below for no. Or give me your thoughts on that. Better yet, should the starters play? Let me know yes or no. All right, now the meat of this video. I want to jump into my top 5 guys I'm really excited to watch play against the New York Jets. Number 1 is Jason Huntley. This is a really interesting undrafted free agent player who has started to flash a little bit more the past couple of days at training camp than he did early on. He's going to get a ton of carries. Him and Kennedy Brooks alike are going to get a bunch of carries, especially in the second half, and they have a chance to make this roster, or at least make the practice squad. We know it's most likely going to go ahead and be Sanders 1, Gainwell 2, Scott 3, but if Huntley and Kennedy Brooks play very, very well, then there might be a roster spot for them. So I expect this to be a very interesting battle. I think running back and wide receiver are 2 of the more interesting spots to watch during preseason. Chance for you to really make a football team if you perform well. You think of Victor Cruz years ago, who was a nobody and then balled out in preseason, then became Victor Cruz for the Giants. I think the running back spot is a big-time focus, and Huntley's a big-time guy I'm looking to watch in the preseason game. Now, he might not be the third-team running back right now because Boston Scott is there, and Scott's looked just fine, everything I've heard. Who is the number 3 running back on this team? Is it Scott? Could it be Huntley, Kennedy Brooks, somebody else? Give me your thoughts on who you think the number 3 running back is down below right now. Now, when we talk about other players to keep an eye on, I gotta throw Jordan Davis in here. I'm very excited to see him in an actual football game. I'm curious, though, how much he's actually going to play, because if the starters are going to play a couple of series, and the depth charts came out yesterday, and the unofficial ones, and Davis was with the second-string defensive line, as he should be, because you have Fletcher Cox there. He's obviously a starter on the defensive line. So will they play Jordan Davis a lot? Will they try and, hide him a little bit and not play him too much? I have no idea, but I'm just excited to see him play against other offensive linemen, and I want to see him dominate. I want to see him be the big physical freak that he was drafted out of Georgia to be, and that we all are really expecting him to be. I think he's going to be a very good player. Davis's reps are going to be under the microscope for me, but just want to see him have one big play. It'd be very fun and get everyone hyped up even more so about Jordan Davis. Okay, we'll get to a wide receiver I'm looking to watch here in just one second. First, if you guys want to bet on this upcoming game, or maybe the Week 1 game against the Lions, do with our friends at BetUS. Chatsports.com/EaglesBet is the link that you need, and the promo code is Eagles125, gets you a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up, and you can bet on any NFL game coming up here. So a great chance to go ahead and start winning some money, having some fun, and betting with our friends at BetUS. All right, Britton Covey is a big-time name to watch going into not just this preseason game, but the preseason as a whole, as he's battling for a roster spot. He's gotten some starting slot reps, which is interesting, and kind of a thought process there is you have had these 3 receivers in Watkins and Brown and DeVonta Smith, and sometimes you want to bring in kind of a smaller guy, more of a route runner, more of a technique sort of player, and Covey, from all intents and purposes, has looked the part. He's looked pretty darn good so far, and so, again, as mentioned earlier, wide receivers, especially the further down the depth chart you have a very real chance to make an impression, make this roster if you get a lot of catches, and I think Covey could really show off what he can do in the first preseason game against the Jets. Now, before we get to Carson Strong, the one big quarterback I'm watching, not named Jalen Hurts, we are very close to 32,000 subs here on the channel. We need 863 by Week 1 to get to 32,000. We're at 31,137, which is a ton of you guys who follow this channel. If you guys want to subscribe, we encourage you to do it. Help us go to get to 32K as quickly as possible. Okay, let's get into the one quarterback I'm really keeping an eye on. That is Carson Strong. I expect Strong to play a lot in the second half. I think you'll see, obviously, it'd be Jalen Hurts and a little bit of Gardner Minshew, and then a mixture of Sinnett excuse me, I messed up his last name, and Carson Strong. It's a big opportunity for him, a huge opportunity for Carson Strong to make this roster. If he struggles, he's not going to make the roster. He might be a practice squad guy, but if you want to actually have a chance to be the third-string quarterback, you got to really show up here in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, big time keeping an eye on Carson Strong. My final player, I'll just mention this quickly, Cam Jurgens. Will he be the starting center on Friday night? I think there is a chance, just due to the fact that Jason Kelce's battling a minor elbow injury. I'm not sure which side it is, but it is a minor elbow injury that is not supposed to be anything serious. But if he doesn't play, then you get your really good first look at Jurgens along with the rest of the starting offensive line, which might have some holes because Mailata is in concussion protocol, and Dillard is in concussion protocol. There were 2 of them. I think it was Dillard also in there as well. And so Jurgens, the number 2 or second-round draft pick for Philadelphia, the heir apparent to the center position. How ready to play is he right now? A big-time opportunity if he gets to start, even if it's just a couple of series there with the starting offensive line. We'll keep an eye on that going into Friday. All right, predict the score. What do you think? Give me your score prediction for Eagles versus Jets. Again, it does not matter, right? You can win them all. You can win none. You can win 1 preseason game, 2. It does not matter how many they win. It does not matter what the score is. But because we're finally getting to talk about Philadelphia Eagles football, it's fun, right? I mean, I enjoy talking about Eagles football. Even if it's the preseason, I'll be watching. It's a Friday night. I will be watching for sure. Give me your score prediction in the comments section. All right, if you guys want to ask me personally any mailbag questions, my personal Twitter account, @RealThomasMott, is available for your DMs. The DMs are open. I keep them open for you guys, and a lot of you guys ask me questions there. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead. And then, of course, if you guys want to DM me questions, go ahead and do that as well. And as we go ahead and end, be sure to subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers we get, the higher chance of winning. Not really, but, come on. Give it a little a push on the red subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever we drop the latest and greatest Eagles stuff, which is going to be happening all week long, including a breakdown of the preseason game probably on Saturday morning. All right, for Head of Eagles now, producer Trace, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.